how it feels to
use
fight.
Lava Hounds.
What is up? What's going on, guys? Trizzle here, tuning in, bringing you guys another great 3-star tutorial. And today, we're going to be getting into a little Town Hall 9 Penta Laloon. This is actually an update of an old army. Those of you that have been OG members of the channel may remember that this is probably the very first video I've ever made. I will link that up above in case you want to see cringeworthy. Like most YouTube creators on the space, the very first video that you make is by and large probably going to be the most cringe-tastic thing you've ever seen. So fair warning. But with that being said, guys, we're going to be getting into the current meta version of this army, and it is still viable, especially with all the changes, all the increases to the defense, as well as new troops being added to the game. So without further ado, we're going to hop right into it, starting of course with the army. With the Town Hall 9 version, guys, you're going to be using 1 archer, 18 loons, 2 minions, and these are considered assist troops, 1 Hog Rider, 4 Lava Hounds, and then 1 CC Lava Hound. I would like to add something very quickly in regards to the assist troops. Depending on the base and your hero levels, you can actually adjust the remaining camp spaces to account for whatever the base gives you. So instead of the 2 minions, you can swap that out for a wizard, 4 archers, or any combination thereof that adds up to 4 camp space. That's going to bring us to the spells. We're going to have 4 raid spells, 1 poison spell, and you're typically going to bring your own CC poison. And this is something that you can swap as well depending on what the base gives you, and you can use either a freeze spell or a haste spell as needed. That's going to get us into the tips for success. Number 1, always start by scouting the base and planning your attack, guys. Very crucial. Number 2, things to look for. Now, luring the CC is always going to be the most important step, or at least accounting for it when you're doing any type of Laloon. So you cannot forget that, guys. Gotta lure the CC. You gotta look at where the AQ is located. Gotta look at where the air defenses are located. You want to look at the Xbows location and their status, whether or not they're pointed to the air or ground. You want to account for loon pathing and base symmetry. You want to also look for wizard tower location and their proximity to air defense. And you also want to account for cleanup, things like corner huts and things like that. The next thing is going to be that this army is extremely effective against bases with ground Xbows. You want to try and snipe the enemy archer queen or an air defense with your heroes, because it does give you a huge advantage. Try not to clump or spam your loons. 2 loons per defense is enough to take out a single defense. So until you learn to do surgical deployment, 2 loons at a time, try to spread them out in a wide line. And I'll show you guys what that means. Next, we're going to be getting into the raid objectives, guys. Starting, of course, with the very first raid objective. I said it before, I'll say it again. Lure the CC, guys. Very important. You cannot forget this step. You can have a literally perfect attack and forget to lure the CC, and out pops a E drag or a CC drag and rains on your parade. So make sure you lure the CC. Number 2, try to use your heroes to snipe the air defense. If not, number 3, try to snipe the archer queen if possible. And number 4, the Laloon will start on the archer queen side of the base. You want to try to drop 2 hounds per air defense, followed by a line of loons, making sure that you save at least 3 or 4 loons for the back end of the attack. Once you get more comfortable, you can start using surgical deployment, where you use 2 loons at a time to target each defense. Number 5, if the archer queen is still alive, drop a poison spell, or even both if you didn't need to use it on the CC kill, after she locks onto the hounds, and then you drop your first 2 raid spells over the 2 air defense. The first 2 air defense, excuse me. Number 6, drop the CC hound on the archer queen side so that it flies over her radius and aggroes and triggers her, so that way she locks onto it. That way, as it flies on the way to the air defense, it flies over the queen's pathing. Number 7, you want to drop the last 2 raid spells after the first 2 air defense go down, and as the hounds start traveling to the remaining air defense on the other side of the base. The goal is to try and cover as many defenses in the core while trying to cover the remaining air defense as well. The trick is to do this is to understand that the raid spells allow the balloons to sweep through the base quickly, not for the attack boost, guys. They do not need it. Loons do a lot of damage all on their own. Number 8, deploy your backside loons to target the remaining air defense after the hounds lock on. And that's extremely important because this is a crucial step to making sure the attack is overpowered. Number 9, always save those back end troops for the cleanup. Make sure you hang on to that 1 or 2 loons, the minions, to make sure that you can assure that 3-star. And that's going to bring us to step number 10, guys. Sit back and enjoy your 3-star because, again, this army is so strong as long as you're looking for those key points. And we're going to get right into the replays so that way you guys can see it in action. Starting with the first replay, just wanted to show you that you don't necessarily have to have max heroes in order for this attack to be successful. Obviously, it does help, but again, you want to always start by luring the CC, which you saw I did there. Using the heroes, I'm able to take down the Archer Queen, and then from there, if we can snipe the air defense, great. If not, we want to try and at least get the most out of the heroes, so that way we can start the Laloon. So on this one, we are able to take out the raid objectives that are crucial. We lure the CC, we account for the Archer Queen, as well as trying to take out an air defense if possible. And once that's done, we're going to bring in the Laloon. Now, I do want to remind everybody that you do want to be mindful of the air sweeper. Ideally, you don't want to attack directly into it, but you also want to make sure that you hit those other high priority items on the raid objectives list as possible. So you'll notice that I use the raid spells almost in like a Mickey Mouse pattern, allowing the Xbows to make sure they're covered. And because Xbows tend to be the one item that needs that overdamage from the loons, for example, if 2 loons are over an air defense, it'll take it out. However, if 2 loons are over an Xbow, it might need 2 separate drops in order to completely kill it, which is where the rage spells usually fill in that gap. So there you have it, guys. Easy 3-star. And the Xbows were pointed up. And that's going to bring us into our next replay, guys. Here we have a slightly more symmetrical base, but we're still going to approach it with the same key raid objectives in mind. Got to always account for the lore, so we start off by sending me the hog, and then from there, we're going to maximize the heroes, trying to, of course, snipe the air defense if possible. And on this base, we do manage to pull it off, so there wasn't really anything in the CC, but using the heroes, we were able to take out the bottom left-hand side, including that air defense, which is so crucial. From there, you're going to come in with your Laloon, 2 Lava Hounds per air defense, and then you're going to make a semicircle with the loons coming in behind the air defense. Again, using your raid spells to bring the balloons into the first 2 air defense, and then using the other 2 raid spells to allow the balloons to flow through the base, trying to get over the air defense if you can. So by the end of the portion of the raid where the loons have already taken out the core, as long as you save the back end loons, which is very important, you want to save about 3 to 4 balloons for the back end of the attack. That way, once the hounds come in on the other side and the air defense locks onto them, they won't have anything that'll be able to take out the loons because it'll be locked onto the Lava Hounds. So here we have the third example. This is one of the most copied bases in the entire game. I think I've seen a variation of this base for Town Hall 9, I would say more than any other base I've ever seen. So I guess it's important that we know how to 3-star it. But you're always going to hit those key elements. Lure the CC. Use your heroes to either snipe the air defense or Archer Queen. Laloon into the Queen, 2 hounds per air defense. And then a line of loons behind. Rage into the core. And then from there, use the back end loons to take out the back end air defense. And then use your raid spells to make sure that the army can sweep through the base. So very effective attack, guys. This is one of those armies that most people don't realize how strong it is, so they never even bother to learn it. But I can tell you, I used this army long before we had all the other benefits that we have now, like the level 5 Lava Hound, like the Dark Spell slot. This army was still wrecking face way back when, long before we had anything like all those additional things, even before the poison spell. So here we have a more of a trophy base. As you can see, it's offset. Up top, you'll notice that the air defense are very much exposed, and we're going to try to take advantage of that on this raid. We send in the hog from the left to get a lure. We realize that there's nothing in the CC, so we're going to go ahead and bring in the heroes from up top and see if we can get some of the air defense there. So the king comes in. Always want to drop your king before your queen. That way he can tank for her. And then because they're fairly decent high-level heroes, you're still able to get tremendous value. You'll notice the queen comes in, takes out the 2 air defense, and actually takes out the enemy queen. So not only does she take out 2 air defense, but she takes out the queen as well. And here you'll notice a really cool example of Penta Laloon with what's called rotational deployment. With that type of deployment, guys, you're just going to work your way around the base in a circular manner. You want to process it segment by segment, dropping in the Lava Hound, followed by targeted looning, where you do 2 loons per defense, and you just follow it in a circular manner, bringing in that raid spell to take out the air defense and the Xbows. So again, there you have it. Very strong army. It doesn't always have to be grounded Xbows, but if for some reason you come across bases that have grounded Xbows, you'll be able to exploit it. And here's another fairly common base. You'll see many similar layouts where the air defense is in a square pattern. Those are actually very, very good when it comes to Laloon because you can really take advantage of the symmetry and the loon pathing, and you can get a lot of value out of the loons that you have if you know how to deploy them, excuse me. So we're able to take out the queen as well as any CC troops coming in with the Laloon. One thing I do want to remind everybody, when you're doing your Laloon, it is ideal if you can come up adjacent to the segment that the heroes carved out. So you notice on this base, the heroes actually took out the bottom right segment over here. And then once that was done, I brought the Laloon in right next to that. So it actually helps with the loon pathing. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So there was a couple more, and then I wanted to show you guys a very important, I would say a misstep, but it perfectly illustrates one of the key elements of this raid and things you want to actually do to maintain that success, because something very, very minute can be off, and then it ends up not resulting in a 3-star, and then nobody's happy about that. So again, very easy. Once you guys practice this raid, it is so effective. The best thing that you can do is to use this army to farm. I recommend push farming. That way you can get shots on goal, get those repetitions, build that muscle memory. Because Laloon, more than most other raids, once you get that feel for it, it is so much better. It's extremely powerful, and it's one of those armies that you can use almost against any base. All right, so that is going to bring us to this base, which I don't know what this guy was thinking. This was like a base from 2014, but we're going to take advantage of it. We're going to go in for the CC as always. From there, maximize your heroes, take out the air defense or archer queen if possible. And if not, make sure you carve out a nice segment. On this one, we were able to take out an air defense. We brought the Laloon in adjacent to where the heroes cut out the segment of the base, and then we poisoned the queen. A lot of people don't think about that, but drop the poison spell on the queen, guys. That's going to slow her down, and it's going to make sure that her rate of attack is lower and her damage output, so it's a huge difference when it comes to keeping the Lava Hounds alive. Last but not least, I actually wanted to show you guys a very important fail. This was actually against a Town Hall 10 base. Well, I would say a 9.5. The Infernos were currently upgrading, and everything else was pretty much there with a couple defenses being Town Hall 10 level already. So the misstep on this one, and which is why I actually wanted to show it to you, is because I kind of got overeager, a little overzealous, and I didn't account for the cleanup, and because of that, it cost me the raid. So you'll notice that we went in, we got a fairly good value out of the start. We did take out the top portion of the base, check the CC, nothing was in there, and in comes the Laloon. So we're able to sweep through the base, fairly decent deployment. I didn't have any issues working on the attack, the first half of the attack, but you'll notice something. Once the army swept through the base and came out on the other side, I deployed my loons, but unfortunately, I didn't save one as a backup. And that's very important, guys. It could be one loon, it could be two, but you have to try to save it. I know it's hard, and you're not gonna, get used to it if you just spam loons or just tap the screen like a mad person. You've got to be precise and you've got to be deliberate with your troop deployments. And had I saved one loon, I would have been able to start it on the right side of that cleanup, and we would have had a 3-star easy. So very important, guys. I just wanted to show you guys what can happen if you're not careful. Still have a perfect attack, and because of the timing, still end up getting hit in the hiney. Alright, so with that being said, guys, I know some of you already know this army. Those of you that do, try to pull it back out, especially if you've been in the game for a long time. Sometimes using old armies can be a lot of fun. So I recommend seeing if you can use this to 3-star in your next war. See if you can get that 6-pack. But with that being said, really appreciate you guys watching the tutorial all the way to the end. Make sure you check out the other tutorials on the channel. I'll link the playlist above. That way you guys can see so many current meta attacks that you can use to become better at the game, become better at war, and help your clan be more successful. So with that being said, appreciate you guys watching. Trizzle tuning out.
Release the Lava Hounds.